Hi, my name is Gabrielle Sparks, and I am in my final course of my Master's of Instruction and Curriculum Teaching Technology program at Northwest Missouri State University. Today is November 30th, 2022, and I am presenting my capstone course digital poster to Teresa Hughes, who is the pre-K4 instructional coach here at our district. My research question was, will the practice of reflex math fluency among third grade students increase their math facts as measured by a pre-test and a post-test? This research was conducted in my third grade classroom at Shenandoah Community School District, where I currently have 18 students total in the study. I also have another student in my classroom who was physically unable to participate. 16 of my 18 students were actively engaged in this study, 5 of which were female and 13 were male. These students ranged in age from 8 to 9 years old. 2 of my 18 students were not able to adequately participate in the study as they receive IEPs or life skills services or alternative assessment. A few students within my homeroom classroom also have behavior concerns that impacted their results from the study, as you will see later on in my graphs. For the data collection, I used a combination of Google Sheets and Reflex Math dashboard diagnostics. I also used paper and pencil to grade and give feedback on interventions in the multiplication survey. The multiplication survey was administered at the beginning of the year to see what the students knew. It was a mixed multiplication test, not timed, with 30 questions. This is represented in figure 1, which I gave a paper copy of to Mrs. Hughes. It looks like this, just so she can see the enlarged version of it. To analyze the data, I created a Google Sheets data tracker to help me determine the appropriate numbers for graphs and information related to the impact of reflex math. This spreadsheet helped me in creating the graphs in Google Sheets and Google Docs. Since Reflex offers a variety of graphs on their teacher dashboard, I was able to choose the ones that were best for this poster. According to the diagnostics provided on the Reflex Math websites, all of my students fell into the 0 to 49% fluency category for multiplication facts at the beginning of this study. As I stated in figure 1, that indicates that all the students completing the study, 16 of them, demonstrated that they had improvement from the beginning of the year until the beginning of the second quarter by 2 or more facts. The data shows an increase in the students' fluency average as a group during the time that Reflex Math was used. Our entire group fluency went up by 39.1% in 22 days' time, indicating that this was a positive impact that the intervention was creating. 13 of my 16 students working on the multiplication grew by 15% or more in that 22 days of practice. On figure 2, which is located here on my graph and located in the paper copy like this, you can see that we started at 4.10% and grew to 43.20% in that 22-day span. The results on figure 3 indicate that after 22 days, 4 of my students moved up to the 50 to 79% fluent range. Based on this information, I have decided that if I have consistent use of Reflex, that more of my students will eventually go into that 50 to 79% range and possibly even higher. Data results would support the conclusion that students utilizing this game-based platform improve their math fact recall. During my interventions, I provided additional support and was teaching different strategies to the students to help them to solve their multiplication problems. However, my data does not explain the behaviors of the students during the reflex and intervention time. Some of my students who are on behavior plans refuse to get their green light during the day or refuse to come to intervention time. So this did not help their scores to grow in that amount of time for the 22 days. Refusal and non-compliance did impact the intensity of their work efforts in both group intervention time and the time that they were playing the game-based platform. I had assumed that since addition and subtraction were skills that had been part of the core curriculum since kindergarten, that students entering third grade would be more skilled and ready for game-based learning at the multiplication level. However, this was not the case. In fact, the students could have benefited for an additional quarter of addition and subtraction. So leading into my further implementation, I have decided that if I were to do this study for a longer period of time or do it again, I would probably have my students work on it for an entire semester of addition and subtraction before moving them up to multiplication. As another further implementation, Reflex Math offers FRACS, which is fractions, and our core curriculum has us studying fractions around quarter 3, quarter 4. So I'm interested to see if will the use of fracs show significant growth in fraction skills when compared to multiplication skills. The research by White and McCoy revealed that student attitudes towards math had improved after using a game-based platform. The results that I found out during my study that these game-based learning could effectively bring about gains of student basic recall skills in math. I utilized this game-based learning platform to form my instructional intervention groups based on their skill level, their fluency level, and the areas that they needed additional support in. Barweiser also emphasized the importance of gaining higher order thinking skills in mathematics, such as rote counting and learning. I have decided that if the students do not develop this automaticity in their fact fluency, it will be detrimental to their multiplication process going on. Analyzing all of these things and interventions will result in making it helpful for me to create my small interventions groups. So I also provided her with a copy of my works cited, which is also found on my references QR code down here at the bottom. Is there any questions that you have about my digital poster or anything that I went over for Reflex Math, since you're our instructional coach and I know that you kind of knew ahead of time what I was going to be working on, but no questions at this time? All right, thank you for viewing my poster and thank you for listening to me present it. Thank you. And